this meeting has been provided by notice sent to the Star Ledger, local source, posted in the main lobby of the municipal building, and the Township website. And for our Pledge of Allegiance, we have David Penna from American Legion, Post 228. Thank you, Mr. Penna.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for our servicemen here and abroad. Thank you. Two. Come on, man.
Mayor DuBois,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Capides,
Here.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes.
Committeeman Kaiser,
Present.
Committeeman Weber.
Yep.
Okay, proclamations and announcements. I want to first start off by saying that a friendly reminder that due to our holiday on Thursday, garbage pickup will be changed. Thursday pickup is moved to Friday, and Friday pickup is moved to Saturday. Recycling is still the same, so get your stuff out tonight. We will be having our annual winter celebration Wednesday, December 4th from 5 to 8 in front of Town Hall. The snow date will be Thursday, December 5th. There will be a free rabies clinic Saturday, December 7th, 10 a.m. to noon at Chisholm Community Center. The Rotary Club of Springfield Rise Against Hunger meal packing event will be Thursday, December 12th from 6 to 9. Volunteers are needed. You can email mike@mikescalera.com, and we'll put that up on the Township page. But I think everybody knows where to find Mike. I know all of us have participated in it in the past. It's a tremendous event. People bring their children. It's a great way to give back. It's a great community event, so I hope to see a lot of you there.
Kids are welcome to come.
Yes. And they're very helpful.
Yes.
Yes. The one.
Rich, yours? Wow. Turn mine off. I don't need it.
Unplug it.
On your floor.
Think of the top, right?
Night.
I think these just pop out. Yeah. Just pop it out from the top.
See, this is why we brought you. Thank you.
This is proof that they're trying to get rid of me. You realize that? They all have.
Would you like to be the high school liaison to the Township Committee? I just invented it. You can come and fix us when we're broken. You don't get paid, long hours, but, you can fix stuff for us.
They all have leather chairs, and I have.
Just a joke to the public on TV. I'm not making a new position, and it doesn't cost anything. December Township Committee meetings will be Monday, December 9th. We will have a workshop meeting, and Tuesday, December 10th, a regular meeting. Both start at 7 p.m., obviously at Town Hall. All right, Chief Palumbo.
Hi.
Hi.
All right.
Excuse me. Sorry to do that.
This way they can.
Okay. I'm here tonight just to do some stuff out there.
Microphone.
Microphone. This is not your first rodeo.
Just to clear up, the town, thank you, by the way, agreed to purchase the fire department a new fire engine. We are replacing a fire truck that was started the building process in the year 2000. It was delivered in 2001. Since that being said, when we buy our new fire truck, it's going to take almost a year to build. So that engine 3 will become 21 years old. To put that in perspective, cars become classics and historic at 25. The engine is not just a diesel truck. That truck is hard hours on there. There's pumps, there's electronics. It's not just a diesel truck that delivers packages. So these packages, all the plumbing starts to leak. Electronics start to fail. When you're inside and we're out in that weather and the salt and the snow and these winters have been rough, it eats up the body, it eats up the electronics. As we try to replace those parts, the parts become obsolete. So after a while, there's only so much money you continue to put into that truck. That truck will serve its purpose as a reserve unit and also assist us in the event of an engine going down. That also will help us with our insurance rating, which gives us credit points for local businesses to give them better rates. So we never had a reserve. We're going to have this reserve. We did have, let me get that back. We did have a reserve several years ago and gave that up. So that being said, this engine will replace 2 engines. And people ask why we bring the fire truck. The analogy is it's a toolbox. You don't work on something and just bring your screwdriver downstairs. You bring the toolbox, and we bring our big toolbox. That carries all the equipment. So this town, there was also some posts, this town only has 2 engines and 1 ladder truck. We do not have more than Milburn. Milburn has 4 engines, a ladder truck, and a rescue. I just want to clarify that as well. And if you take the price of this truck, it's $750,000, and you divide that into 20 plus years, it's about $37,000 a year that the town invests in public safety. So I know these decisions aren't taken lightly, and we went round and round with the administrator, the CFO, and the committee, and under my recommendation, they feel, that they want to support the fire department. We need to replace this engine. And if there's any questions I can answer from the public, I'd be more than happy to.
And also add to that, with all the development happening and all the new business, that you guys will be just inherently busier, so.
Yes, I mean, if you're taking a look around the town right now, the projects are all over the place. And technology changes, water supply changes. You have these buildings that are 3, 4 stories high. We need the pumps now to get us up to the 4th floor. So as the town evolves, so does the fire service, so does everything else. So the town is taking a step forward. It's a proactive approach. This engine is going to take anywhere from 10 to 12 months to be delivered. So it's going to be a while, so we're taking a positive step forward. I will present to the town probably in the next week to the business administrator to save some additional funding. We are part of Sourcewell and HGAC co-op. We'll save some money there, and there will be 3 prepay options that we can choose to do so, and we can save anywhere from $8,000 to $20,000 additionally, which I have about 10 towns that just recently did that, including Brooklyn Heights, Green Township, Union just prepaid 3 fire trucks. So there's still wiggle room to negotiate, which we will, and save additional funding there.
Well, you guys are first responders, am I correct? And that
Yes.
goes out on first responders.
Yes.
Just to put it in perspective, what I need you to do is, and I know you know the numbers, a lot of people assume that this truck just sits there idling, it's nice and, nice and pretty in the driveway and so on. Rough idea, your numbers, calls for service the last 3 years or so.
I can tell you we averaged, the number continues on an upward trend. We're averaging over 2,000 responses a year, on top of about 2,500 inspections a year. Yes, we do send staff vehicles out when it permits. However, we don't split the team. We operate as a team and we stay as a team. We go on the engine, we stay on that engine. So when there's time, we put them on the pickup truck or staff vehicle. Other than that, we stay together. But like I said, these are heavy hours on this equipment. So it's not just like a patrol car. It might have low mileage, but they idle and they sit idle, and it takes a toll on that equipment. So this isn't just this is a specialized piece of equipment that does multiple things. So it's custom, and it's going to give us 20 years of service.
Now, the next thing I had to learn, because it's a different world than from where I came from in the police department, why can't you go out with 2 guys in a Tahoe and do an inspection on a Tahoe, come back, get your truck on a call, and keep it moving?
We'll send one guy. Certain times we'll send one guy in a Tahoe, but we keep the 4 on the engine. POSHA is 2 in and 2 out rule. You pull up with the piece of equipment, 2 guys will win. Law, 2 guys have to be outside for immediate rescue. So you got to keep them together. There's too much time delay to come across town. It just becomes dangerous. It's rather you take that equipment everywhere with you and divert if need be, and then the staff vehicle will be
Ready
there.
to respond on
Instead of going
scene
back
wherever
and
you
forth,
are.
and it's just a lot safer. And so we're always together as a team, which is a little different.
And that way you can respond as a call comes in, whether you're doing something simple or something complex.
So we've made every effort when that engine's doing inspections now, we've modified the bureau to where we're doing all inspections on one street. So guys can split up, and we're 4 guys are inspecting the block versus staff cars being out there. So we've become a lot more efficient over the last couple of years.
Carlo, isn't there a time where the engine is no longer like certified once it gets to a certain age?
Yeah, I believe when it hits the 25-year mark, they're telling you to take it out of service.
Right.
And the 20-year mark starts that ticking quickly. And they also look at that in the ISO, which we are scheduled to be done this year. I was told that they're coming to Springfield to review our records, our staffing, our policies, our engines, and everything else. And with this, it's a pro for us. It's a feather in our cap because, my goal is to get us from a 4 to a 3, which can upwards save 10% in reduction for businesses in town. And looking around the town, it looks like, there's some positive change for the town, makes it more appealing, and so on.
The size, how many trucks do you need on average? Like, you brought it up before, there was some misinformation about Milburn having
Yes.
less trucks. On an average size of a town like ours, how many do you need?
Well, if just a basic fire, you're going to pull up in front of the building with a fire engine. The other engine's going to grab a fire hydrant, bring that water supply to you, and a ladder truck is done differently. It sets the ladders up, and that carries all the ladders to get to the roof. So,
Minimum 2.
yeah, minimum 2. So, and then when you're recalling other personnel to come in, they're staffing that piece as well.
All right, just to clear this up, just to be clear, to anybody watching out there, we all know the answers to these questions. We've already been through this with him quite a while ago. We're reviewing these questions again for anybody who happened to miss it and needs a refresher on this whole entire thing. Why can't, we're at 25 to 4,000 calls for service, somewhere in that range. For people that's, are curious about mutual aid and things like that, and maybe us relying more on unions, fire trucks, or whatever, why is that not work?
Well, Union Fire Department's not here to subsidize Springfield Fire Department. If people touch on shared services, you have a 22-man department and you have a 6-man department per shift. They're 22 per shift. What does Union gain from Springfield? Really nothing. So when you want to talk about shared services, we don't compare it. So we have to be independent. Eventually, Union will say, look, there's only so many times we're going to come help you. The town needs to have the equipment, have the staffing, and so on. So, yeah, there is mutual aid, and every town goes to mutual aid. We'll go to Union as well, depending on the alarm.
And that's an argument to make, and I know you're not making it, but until you have a house fire and you're waiting because you're waiting for somebody to come from someplace else.
Listen, Union on a good
When I was a kid, my house burned down, so I know. If you're waiting,
it's got to go through the system. We're going to pull up on Union in 3 to 5 minutes. It's got to go to mutual aid. Union's got to come from the center of town. You're looking at 16 minutes by the time it goes through the process, and a lot happens. Fire doubles in size every minute. So you need the staff to make that initial knockdown. That's why it's imperative to have the 4 on the engine, stay as a team, and have the equipment to do so.
I'm just curious on this question. I don't know the answer to this one. 78 and there's a lot of tractor trailers that are fires, overturned, spillage on. Do you have an idea how many you're handling a year on 78 alone?
I can get you numbers on that, but we're up there
It's a lot.
3 or 4 times a week.
Three or-
With your larger incidents, we will bill the company, and I'll bill the manpower hours as well as engine hours. So I have it set up. Just recently, we had the gasoline tanker, so we're going through the process to collect the money from that as well. It's the bigger incidents where there's some time and resources dedicated to it that we will seek reimbursement from the companies.
But if it's a normal car accident or car fire, we get nothing from the state or anything.
No, nothing, and it's just the nature of the beast. Whoever's jurisdiction that runs through, and we have we probably have the worst section of 78 and 24 because of the split, the way the turns are banked, they're banked the wrong way. Get out of the port, people are rushing to go to 24.
And
to go to
22 is a
Buffalo.
pleasure to drive on, so I'm sure 22 is not an issue.
Yeah, and I'm sure you talk to the police department, they're gonna say it's just as busy now, and it's continuing to get busier. And but yeah, we're on the highway.
And to make it clear, we don't, it's not like the state police have the troopers on 78 or so on. It is our responsibility. Springfield, these roads, there's no,
I think PD might be able to tell me, but
There's
You
no,
only have like 4 troopers that run the
that's
highway.
my point. There's no state police fire truck that shows up.
No,
Right.
you're lucky,
So-
state police sometimes can
Correct.
take 25 minutes to get there.
And that's what I'm saying. These roads are, because there was also a question of, why isn't the state handling it and so on. These roads are all our responsibility as far as fire and accidents are concerned.
Well, thank you for
you.
thank you for your clarity for the public, because even when we go over this with any of the department heads, it's better to come from you, because we might not be able to give the same exact, message you're giving us, so we appreciate that you're doing
But
it.
I also did call the local source, and they did do a retraction. However, it was on page 3, about this big. And I spoke to Matt. Just so you know, Matt and I were talking. Matt was 6 when engine 3 was purchased, just to kind of get where it is. But
Thanks for making us feel old, Matt. Appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving.
And
I'll mess this story up, Pat.
yeah, and then I'll have some numbers for you for the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. All right, next, we have a public hearing for the community block grant from Brendan O'Reilly and John Bisicolo. So,
I'd like to make a motion to open the hearing,
I'll second that.
CDBG grant.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Okay. All yours, Brent.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me tonight. Tonight, what I will be presenting to you guys is the Community Development Block Grant. This grant is awarded to us every year as a requirement from the county. What the grant gives us is it pays
Speak into the microphone, so
Sorry.
people can-
This grant pays a portion of our senior bus drivers' salaries. We get approximately 20% of our senior bus driver salaries total, which really does help subsidize our budget and the salaries. For those of you that don't know what our senior bus service is, we run Monday through Friday. The drivers are out there for 7 hours making sure our senior citizens are getting to and from wherever they need to go on a daily basis. A lot of our senior citizens do live in senior housings or don't have cars, so they really do need this service to get to where they need to go day to day, which could be the doctors, grocery store, library, anywhere you can think of. They really do need to go. It has been a success. In conclusion, this grant has been very successful in the past, and we want it to keep going for as many years as we can. So that's why we do it every year. So thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
I know it's a good service. My wife had operations underneath the double knees at one time. They picked up my house at 8:30, and they picked up your house, not just mine. They'll pick up your house, they drove over there, and then they gave her 2 hours, whatever it was, and they picked her there at the doctor's office to, rehab. As long as it's in Springfield. They're not permitted to go out of Springfield.
Can you explain how many people use the service?
So we had this year approximately about 130 senior citizens that have used our transportation, and that's every day. We always have calls coming in, so every day we have a lot of senior citizens using this transportation.
Absolutely.
And also, if I may, aside from that, there is also, Michael Disco has applied for, in the Community Development Block Grant application, he's also applied for paving improvements on Country Club and Nelson Place also. So,
Did we just get a bus from county? Do we
Get a bus?
A senior bus?
A couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
yeah,
All right.
Time's just flying.
Nelson.
I try to make it fun.
Any other
Okay.
questions or?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to close
Wait, do you
the
want a
hearing.
public hearing, right?
Does
Does anybody want to comment on this specifically? Okay. Seeing as there is no public comment,
Then I will make a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, now we will have public comment on agenda items only. So is there any comment on anything on the agenda? No? Okay. Seeing as there is none, we're going to move to reports, finance.
I would like to make a motion to adopt the total amount of payroll and vouchers from the period from November 7, 2019 through November 26, 2019 in the amount of $5,918,219.79.
I second.
Committeeman Kaiser?
Yes.
Committeeman Capides?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Capides? Committeeman Huber?
Yeah.
Committeeman Weber?
Yes.
Mayor DuBois?
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to approve the regular and executive meeting minutes of October 7th as emailed, the workshop and executive meeting minutes of the 21st as emailed, and the regular meeting minutes of October 22nd, 2019 as emailed.
And I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor, before we get too deep,
Yes.
can I have a minute just to bring up a couple of things?
Yes.
I would just like to point out. We did today receive a grant for $370,000 from DOT, which was for Benjamin and Newbrook that Mike Disco and Robbie worked on. So that was very nice. A couple of things I wanted to just bring up on DPW quickly, if I may. This year, we completed 16 streets in 2019. Paving on Evergreen was just finished yesterday, the 22nd, no, Friday, sorry, and the striping was done yesterday. So that's it for this year. The crosswalk at the high school, couple improvements. We have asked JCP&L to increase the looms in that area from the volts on that light from 250 to 400, which they are going to do. And we also have added flags at that location. We also have on order the pedestrian flashing signs. You can push the button and it flashes to let you know somebody's in a crosswalk. Those are going to be on both sides of the street. Plus, we also, in the middle of the crosswalk, we have one of those signs that you can run over and it bounces back up. So we've made those improvements. I just wanted to touch briefly on leaf season. We started on November 1st. 3 crews are positioned in different sections of the town removing leaves. We have picked up year-to-date so far 6,000 yards. And overall, we're going to do probably somewhere between 12 and 14,000 yards. What that means is that's 1,500 trips to the quarry to dump the leaves. Just to give you an idea, this is 1,500 dump truck loads of leaves that we're going to go through. There was a light out at Short Hills Road last night. It was repaired, just so everybody knows. We got somebody out there. I think the chief called on that, and I know Robbie did also. So that got repaired very quickly, so that was good. Touch just a couple of things. The Gomes building, just to bring up to date, he's dropped off his engineering drawings and the renderings. We've got a meeting with him tomorrow, just to go over before he goes to the planning board on the 4th, if he's ready. Charlie Larkin's property across the street, SPD sale. If you've seen, he's got all of the footings done. He's ready to start putting up his foundation. The problem is he's got some wires in the way. He needs JCP&L to come out and move them. I've told Charlie if he's got a problem with them to let me know, and I'll call JCP&L, try to help him out on that. On Sex, they want to do demo, but they have not gotten word back yet from Milburn that they're okay. Now, I talked to their BA today, and Alex recommended that Matt Jessup call their attorney. If that doesn't work, we don't get a call back, Mayor, I'm going to ask you if you would call Diane over there and ask her what's happening there. We also, this week, we had a company come in and look at the video equipment in the courtroom. They're going to send a technician in. He's going to go over everything to see what we need new, what we need to replace.
Can we put like Instagram filters and stuff, or like Snapchat filters on there?
Yeah. And he actually said, he goes looking at it, he goes, your equipment actually is not bad at all. He said, so I would not recommend that we're going to start from scratch. He goes, but let's see if there's something that's giving you issues, and we'll get your price to replace it. We looked at the cameras, and he said, I would not replace them. He goes, you can do it, you'd get more megapixels, but do you really care? Do you want to spend that kind of money just so you get a clear picture? We do have, which I did not know, we've got video conferencing. So he's going to show us how to hook that up. It's actually right there, and I don't know if we've ever used it. I'm sure at some point we did. But when Committeeman Weber was out, I think it was you, we had you on the cell phone. We could have actually had you up on the screen.
That would
So,
be,
that would have been great.
I don't know. We may not want that.
We're looking at that.
can't wait to see that one.
So we're looking at that. We also, just so you know, I've got a company coming out to look at Ruby Field because we kind of think it looks a little shabby. We'd like them to come out and talk about maybe put new clay down, crowning it properly, and whatever other improvements we kind of need to do there. So hopefully this week or next week, they'll come out and get us a number on that. And I think for the moment, I think that was all I wanted to touch on.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Can we put, when you have them, flags over on, Mizell, where the old gas station used to be, it's,
Rubino.
Rubino.
Rubino, okay,
Right there across, because I've seen kids trying to cross,
okay,
and nobody's giving them a break.
okay.
What year was that at Getty Station? Please tell me.
You don't remember that?
Yeah, many
At
years
least
ago.
Linda and John remember
Yeah,
that.
many years.
was that at Getty
In the olden days of yore.
Yeah.
Okay.
One other thing on the reval, we're done with it, everything's been sent off to the state. The reval company is on schedule that they're looking to start in January. Before we get that far, we'll have them in, Mr. Huber will have all that taken care of.
And don't forget, I wanted to go to the seniors and Margaret introduce them to the seniors there, so that nobody gets nervous.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay, new business, we have ordinances, we have a second reading.
Okay, Ordinance 2019-13. This ordinance makes changes to some of the fees for the Springfield Recreation Department, Springfield Community Pool, Springfield Pool Camp, and Chisholm Playground Center.
I'll make the motion to adopt ordinance 2019-13 as, Madam Clerk,
And I second.
publicized in the local source December 5th, 2019. Sorry.
Okay, any public comment? I just want to say, Adam, I talked to Brendan before this meeting. I haven't had a chance to reach out to you guys. I just wanted to thank you. I know that collectively, Chris Weber and myself and you guys have talked about certain like recreation things, and you guys are trying out a lot of things and you're making it work. And I know it may not be, I know some of the things may be a bit of a challenge, and I appreciate your efforts. I just wanted to thank you. 'Cause I like seeing what, you guys presented us last meeting, and I didn't get a chance to thank you. So just thank you. And if there's any way we could help, please, let me know. I'm there.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you.
That's it. Any other discussion? We talked about it last meeting.
No,
so-
yeah, we talked about this. These are
still
minor,
low. We're still low.
right.
No, but we talked about it
Minor
last week.
increases, so.
All right, roll call.
Committeeman Weber,
Yes.
Committeeman Kaiser,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Capides,
Yes.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes.
Mayor Dubois.
Yes.
Okay, bond ordinance 2019-14. This bond ordinance is to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of new additional or replacement equipment and machinery, and a new fire engine, and a new automotive vehicle, including original apparatus and equipment in, by, and for the township, to appropriate the sum of $1,182,000 to pay the costs thereof, to appropriate township reserve funds to make down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
I would like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 2019-14 as read by Madam Clerk,
I second.
And that
as
publication,
publicized in the local source on December 5th, 2019.
Any public comment? I know we kind of discussed it already at the beginning of the meeting. Anybody have anything pop into their heads? Okay. Again, we discussed it already, and we discussed it at the last meeting, so if no one has anything to add, we could do a roll call.
Committeeman Kaiser,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Capides.
Yes.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes.
Committeeman Weber,
Yes.
Mayor Dubois.
Yes. Now we have some first readings.
Okay, ordinance 2019-15. This ordinance amends the Township Code at Chapter 7 to modify and supplement the township's traffic regulations governing stop intersections.
Make a motion to adopt ordinance 2019-15, as read by Madam Clerk, publicized on local source December 5th, 2019, final hearing December 10th, 2019.
Second?
Okay, did we do the publicized?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody want to discuss? Just kind of routine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, roll call.
Committeeman Weber,
Yes.
Committeeman Huber.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Capides.
Yes.
Committeeman Kaiser.
Yes.
Mayor Dubois.
Yes.
Okay. And we have another first reading of, why am I
Two more
missing a page? I know, but I'm missing a page from something. Okay. Ordinance 2019-16. This ordinance amends the Township Code to create the position of Traffic Control Officer.
Make a motion to adopt 2019-16 as read by Madam Clerk, publicized in a local source December 5th, 2019. Final hearing on December 10th, 2019.
Second.
Any discussion?
This is your, a regular officer, or is this an officer that's like position, or what do they call it, 2, or?
Neither. It's not a regular officer. It's a simple way to put it. It's someone would be able to do crossing guard details, but is also certified to direct traffic. Crossing guards cannot direct traffic. That's what a traffic control officer is. It's not anyone carries a weapon or anything like that. It's not a special. It's not a class 2. It's solely for us to have an asset to use instead of having to use an officer.
Yeah.
I could free up the officer and have an individual do that.
But he's not making an officer's pay.
Correct. So right now, it's crossing guard pay.
Okay.
Same,
That's why people understand that.
right.
That overall, this is a cost-saving measure
Yeah.
to, instead of having an officer, outside there doing that job, we're looking to free them up and save the township a little bit of money on that.
Correct, absolutely.
Okay.
And no
Thank-
benefits, right?
Correct, no benefits. Part-time, it's under the hours and no bargaining unit, anything like that. Just,
Roll call?
Committeeman Weber.
Yes.
Committeeman Huber.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Capides.
Yes.
Committeeman Kaiser.
Yes.
Mayor Dubois.
Yes.
We have another first reading, ordinance 2019-17. This ordinance amends the Police Department promotion policy and procedures.
Make a motion to adopt 2019-17 as read by Madam Clerk, publicized in the local source December 5th, 2019. Final hearing on December 10th, 2019.
Okay. I'm sorry. Any discussion? No. Again, I think we already discussed this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Committeeman Weber.
Yes.
Committeeman Huber.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Capides.
Yes.
Committeeman Kaiser.
Yes.
Mayor Dubois.
Yes. All right, we have resolutions. If you want anything pulled, let me know, otherwise we'll adopt by consent. Resolution 2019-299, 2019-300, 2019-301, 2019-302, 2019-303, 2019-304, 2019-305, 2019-306,
I was going to take 06 out.
06, 2019-307, 2019-308, 2019-309, 2019-310, 2019-311, 2019-312, and 2019-313.
Can I pull that?
We pulled 312.
Oh, Paul 312?
No, 312. Yeah, that should have been
Oh, 312 should have been,
320. All right.
Are we just pulling 312 or
And
313?
13.
And 313?
313.
Okay.
oh, 313, okay. Okay.
You want to go over why it's just pulled it? I mean, I thought we got new radios for,
Hey, hold on.
Hold on, Linda's got them.
Are we going?
306.
306? Yeah, are we going to adopt the others first and then read that and?
okay, whatever.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, I'll make a motion to adopt the following resolutions on consent agenda. Resolution 2019-299 through Resolution 2019-305, and then Resolution 2019-307 through Resolution 2019-311.
I'll second.
Okay. Committeeman Kaiser?
Yes.
Committeeman Huber?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Capides?
Yes.
Committeeman Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Dubois?
Yes.
Now, 306, this resolution authorizes OEM to purchase new radio equipment from Motorola Solutions, and we do have a certificate of available funds.
I thought we just went through all the radios and that.
We did, I think this is the balance of some, this is not the overall.
Oh, okay, because I know we had just purchased them.
If you want, I will get, tomorrow I'll get you the details on exactly.
No, as far as.
You are correct.
You're not done.
So, gonna make the motion.
I'll make a motion.
Want to make a motion to accept, resolution 2019-306.
Second.
Read by Madam Clerk.
Okay. Committeeman Huber?
Yes.
Committeeman Kaiser?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Capides?
Yes.
Committeeman Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Dubois?
Yes.
Okay, and our next resolution is 2019-312. This resolution approves the hiring of Matthew L. Safer as a probationary police officer.
We need to do a little homework on that one and just look at the numbers and make sure everything works out with that one. We have some review we have to do on that.
So we're just
Table
tabling
it.
it.
I'm gonna table it right now.
May I have a motion to table?
Motion to table.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Resolution 2019-313. This resolution authorizes the township to enter into a settlement agreement with Danielle McClear and AFSCME.
And this is for after executive. So,
Yes. We'll come out and do
Come
this
back
after.
out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
all right, we're up to discussion, or do we have to roll call that to after executive? Okay. Discussion and action items. Approve request from the Jewish Learning Center for use of the bucket truck belonging to the township and operated by the township employees. So hopefully the mayor can get up there and light the menorah, because that's why I wanted this job. So hopefully I'll get to ride in it this year. For the Hanukkah celebration on Sunday, December 22nd at 5 p.m. at Veterans Park, hold harmless and certificate of insurance provided. Yeah, I hope I get up there. Let's
Motion
adopt
to, adopt it, whatever, we do it every year, so.
Yes.
I'm with
Do I have a
you.
second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Putting that in my calendar now, and hopeful for fun times.
Wait a minute, do we have to vote individual with that, that costs the township worker, the truck, I don't know. I don't know.
You want to do a roll call?
I would do just to make sure.
Okay. Committeeman Huber?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Capides?
Yes.
Committeeman Kaiser?
Yes.
Committeeman Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Dubois?
Yes. Approve the request from the Recreation Department to offer full credit towards senior citizen individual membership resident rate to the community pool for 2020 season as a gift for Senior Citizens Club annual party on December 12th, as approved in previous years.
I'll make a motion to adopt that request from the Recreation Department. Yes.
I will second.
Okay. Committeeman Weber?
Yes.
Committeeman Kaiser?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Capides?
Yes.
Committeeman Huber?
Yes.
Mayor Dubois?
Yes.
Excuse me, but
Yes.
for Resolution 2019-312, Committeeman Kaiser,
I'm gonna go nay on the table.
it still passes, but you
Okay.
will vote no.
Gotcha, thank you. All right, so we have correspondence from Westfield, ordinance 2152, which designating a historic landmark and modifying a zoning map. Any unfinished business up here?
Yep.
Okay, now, public comment on any governmental issue.
So, Michael Froci, 139 Hillside Avenue. I have a couple of things, Mayor.
Yes.
Microphone, in the microphone.
You asked me to, if I could keep an eye on, if I could do a little research on the tree replacement ordinance.
Yeah, so we've been looking into, John and I met, and we've been looking into it as well in other towns. So we've been, and Chris was there too.
I got it from, I got the one from, which I thought was the one that the Flood Mitigation Committee had looked at the Flood Mitigation Committee. It turned
Okay.
out not to be Woodbridge's ordinance.
Okay.
But I did get some pretty good ideas on how we should proceed. And
Shoot them my way so we can take a look, because we're in the process of looking at all of that just to see what we can do.
does, when somebody cuts down a tree, do they come in, they have to pay a fee for the permit? Is that right?
I don't think that we've got a permit fee on it, and we don't have an inspection that goes out before they cut it down, which most other towns do.
We're looking
I've got
into,
about 6 or 8 from other towns.
yeah, we had a long meeting about 2 weeks ago, and we've been kicking around, John and I, trying to just see.
Woodbridge charges a fee and then earmarks that fee
Right.
to,
Goes into a tree replacement
Yeah,
fund.
we're looking
That's
into
what most
that.
towns do.
But you could send me what you have, that would be helpful, and I
well,
know.
what I have is a mishmash of different ordinances.
Well, that's what,
And I'm trying to take the.
we enjoy the mishmash, so it's fun. That's why we're here.
Another pretty good idea is in lieu of the fee, or whatever the fee would be to take down the tree, to offer the resident that's taken down the tree to replace that many inches on their property, and, you know, if they don't want to pay the money. I thought that was a pretty good idea also.
A lot of towns do both, actually.
A lot of towns do both.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
We've been digging, we've been doing some research, so,
and-
but I appreciate your efforts
And
too.
the other thing is to, we should get together, we should put together a list of trees that we prefer they replace the old tree with. Some trees
100%.
are better for us than others. Some trees have deeper root systems, suck up more water, don't fall as easy, aren't uprooted,
Understood.
so that should be something that, should
I appreciate
Well,
your
and we
input.
do look at, just so you know, anything we plant in the right of way, like by the street, we make sure we don't plant something that's gonna interfere with the wires.
Right.
Because we got a lot of issues with that, because those trees were planted, 50 years ago. So,
anything that's planted by the curb, is my understanding, you should be looking for roots that grow downward instead of
not
outward.
That makes
spread.
sense.
Yes.
Because when they cut in the curbs, they cut into the root systems, and then the wind blows up from that side, it's gonna tip over to. The other thing that we looked at a few years ago,
Yes,
about a year and a half ago, is the food waste.
yes. Any more on that?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's bad news. There's no margin of profit to do that the way we were looking at it.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to find a company. We were hoping that the food waste bill would help us with that. Unfortunately, the food waste bill, in my opinion, and many others, is a bust. I mean, it's useless. It puts food waste into the landfill and calls it recycling. It puts food waste to the incinerator and calls it recycling. So that was of no help at all. The original bill that Senator Smith was that would have been a good bill. That would have helped companies that were interested in collecting it and really using it. It would have gave them, better margins to work with. It would have made it a lot easier. The third thing is what we discussed with privately with inviting Dr. O'Brien.
Yes.
It's my understanding that we don't have a runoff mitigation plan. Is that right?
I can't answer you that. I don't know offhand.
I'm pretty sure.
You're probably correct.
It's also my understanding, and Chris might correct me if I'm wrong, that would be a requirement for the people that are paying $4,000 a year in insurance to lower their flood insurance. That would be a requirement that we have a plan.
That I'm not sure of either, I gotta look into.
I'm pretty sure of.
You know what, for some reason, I'll take your word on that.
So that's something to look into.
Yeah,
First. And then after that, then it could be an invitation, but we would need,
Right, but I mean, And Dr. Brock could probably help us put a plan together based on our, the geology around town, the hydrology issues, and
All right, we'll look into it. I appreciate.
I think it would help generally.
Understood.
And certainly help in lowering these people's insurance premium, because, I mean, they're getting killed down there. Laurel, Alvin, you know, some people are paying more than $4,000 a year, and, you know, it's really a sin. Since Irene was
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Right.
So,
Thank you.
and one more item,
Yes.
if you don't mind. Thank you for passing, I think it was 2 weeks ago, you did the second reading of the 219, what was it, 10, 12, whatever?
Which one?
The ordinance for, to charge, the developers.
Oh, yeah.
Sewer connection fee.
Sewer connection.
I did a little snooping around, and this, you know, it was a long time coming for this. We're way behind.
Absolutely.
So thank you for moving forward.
Absolutely.
But I don't think, since most of the units are going to fall into that $1,000 category, I think we're way undercutting ourselves. I know that at least 4 towns had at least double that.
Well, can I comment on that, and
Yes.
please jump in and smack me? We kind of put something down that we thought was, at the point that we were at, was reasonable and we could justify at that moment. And as we get a little bit deeper, if there's any other information that comes to light, we can certainly look at changing those.
And those figures will be, this is for the most recent connection fee ordinance. Those will be required to be reviewed annually and modified, either upward or downward if
My concern
the
is,
system merits.
there's not that many developments left to be had here.
Correct.
So, I mean, if we, by the time we catch up to what the price should be, what I believe the price should be, you know, we're out of.
Michael, just because of the situation we were in, though, that we were so far behind on this, we almost kind of thought it was better, let's get something in place, because right now we have 0. Let's make sure we get something in place, and then if we need to modify the costs, we can do that, but we had to get that ordinance done as quick as possible. So, and then again, I know you cited $1,000, but that is a unit, not the overall development.
Right, that's $1,000 per unit.
Per unit.
What I'm saying is, it's at least
I don't
double that
disagree with
in
you.
many towns.
I don't
At
disagree.
least double that.
But you also have to have backup. If you go with a certain number, you have to be able to prove it, and at that moment, I don't think we were comfortable going right to the top.
Well, can we just prove it by saying, hey, look, so-and-so's charged? No?
I tried that. That was my tack right away.
But
What
they-
I did is I contacted RVSA, Denise contacted them and say, how did the other towns, what are their numbers and how did they get there? And I brought that to our esteemed attorney, and after he stopped giggling at me, he said, you can't do that.
Quick question. Would we be able to modify that resolution, or would it need to be a whole
Yeah, he
new
said we
ordinance?
can.
It's,
Modify.
I believe
Just by
we can establish the fees on an annual basis by resolution. We won't have to go through the full process. But there will be a process to get to that point. There'll be a process involved in terms of a financial analysis.
Yes.
It takes 2 years to modify and to catch up to the right price, you know, the development will be all over.
Trust me, I was in your boots right there. I said the same thing.
We appreciate it. Yeah, we're trying.
Thank you very much.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you.
And yeah, shoot me whatever you have on the tree stuff, just because I know John's been working on it. Chris and I met with him. Chris Weber and I met with him in regards to it, so. Yes, come on up.
Hey guys, I'm Steve Rosenstock at 982 Chimney Ridge Drive. I've lived in Springfield for 15 years. I'm embarrassed to admit this is my first time in this room, so after watching,
Welcome.
thank you.
Thanks for coming.
You get to
Watching
talk a
that-
cool microphone.
Yeah, after watching the trials and tribulation in Washington the last few weeks, it's a pleasure to see incredible alignment. So I am
We're
here
very nice.
to hit upon a topic that you brought up earlier around Ruby Field. So I'm here to talk on behalf of Coach Abate, who could not be here tonight because he has parent-teacher conferences, I believe at Caldwell.
He is coach of just,
I'm sorry, coach of Jonathan Dayton High School baseball varsity team. I'm here to talk on behalf of parents and fans who attend games at Ruby. And then most importantly, Zach's going to talk from the perspective of playing for the past few years through the Dayton baseball program. So when the fire chief brought up social media and some of the noise on social media, I certainly empathized with what he was going through, and I guess in some ways apologized for some of the craziness over the past few months that was kind of going through social media, and really just demonstrate that all we were trying to do, and appreciate your efforts around the trees at Ruby Field, was to create a safer and more fan-friendly and player-friendly environment for the kids to be able to play baseball. That's it. We weren't trying to cause chaos for the people who live back behind the field there. Incredible amount of empathy for someone who might have a tree pulled out from what was seemingly their backyard and the impact that that might have for them. All along, we, through the baseball program, tried to express that we were willing to do things and make investments to beautify the back of Ruby Field so that they wouldn't just have those trees ripped from their quote-unquote backyard, and continue to make that commitment. A couple of things that I want to emphasize in comments from me, and then I'll share Coach Abate's comments. From a fan's perspective, I don't know if anyone here has had the opportunity to attend a baseball game there. It is an incredibly awkward, uncomfortable, staring into the sun, and most importantly, unsafe place to watch a baseball game. The way it works, because of the field dimensions, you are positioned down the right field line. There's 3 sets of bleachers down the right field line. There's no fence in front of the bleachers, which is unique. I travel across the state watching baseball games with my son, and most of the time there's a fence along the lines to not only protect the fans, but also the first baseman or the right fielder who might be running for a foul ball. The bleachers are right off the first base line and create an incredible safety hazard. You're looking directly into the sun, so as a fan you can't see, so you can't see your kid playing, but you also can't see foul balls that might be coming at you. So that's one thing. More importantly, the trees in center field. Now I know a few of them have been taken out. There is one glaring tree that is still there. That is an issue from a safety perspective. Zach will talk to some personal experiences where injuries have occurred. It's also an issue in terms of playability, in terms of, kids are bigger and stronger and balls are being hit out past that tree. As someone whose kid plays in the outfield, and Zach could attest to it, it comes into play and it makes a huge impact on the playability of the field. We're not asking for a turf baseball field. We are not asking for grandiose investments. All we're asking for simply is a tree to be taken down that could allow us to continue to make Ruby a safe and fan-friendly and player-friendly place for our kids to play. From Coach Abate's perspective, 3 things that he wanted to communicate, if I could on his behalf. He's been coaching here for 14 years. He's one of the more widely respected coaches that we have here in Springfield. Each year, parents have come to him, parent groups have come to him expressing concerns around safety. So that even though this has bubbled up over the past year, this has been an ongoing concern for the past 14 years. They've hosted over 20 state playoff games. Jonathan Dayton Baseball is one of the more successful sports programs we have in town. They've hosted over 20 state playoff games. Every single time they host a game, umpires are expressing concerns. A couple of times, umpires have said, we're not even quite sure if we could play here, just because you have trees dead in the middle of center field. It takes 15 minutes to go over the ground rules. You also have trees hanging over the left field line that come into play. So again, it's not, if you compare it to other baseball fields, it's not what you would consider fan or player friendly. And Zach will talk to the injuries. I could speak to my son is now part of the high school baseball program, taking outfield practice, kids constantly having to avoid the trees, not just the base of the tree, which is 330 feet away, but the branches that overhang are hanging over 290 feet away from home plate. And that comes into play. And again, all in closing, I'll say we just want to make it as safe and a fan-friendly of environment and player-friendly of environment as we possibly could.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank
Is there any questions or?
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Zachary Yellow, 61 Highlands Avenue. And so I'm a senior right now at, I play for Jonathan Dayton. I actually go to the UCVTS, the Magna schools in Scotch Plains. So playing at Dayton for the past 4 years and playing club and on other baseball fields, I would say Ruby's not one of the nicer fields. I don't think I've played on another field with trees in the outfield, and it's really not safe. A couple of examples of this would be, I've seen this plenty of times where outfielder, center fielder, or right fielder primarily are going back on a ball. And when you're going back on a ball, you're not really looking around. You're looking straight at the ball, and you kind of have a sense of where everything is. But again, it's just tough to judge. And plenty of times the players caught the ball, kind of look, and the tree is right in front of them. So they kind of have to jump out of the way or veer to the right, which fortunately nothing's happened yet, but any instance could happen at any time where a player doesn't see the tree, sees it too late, and runs straight into the tree. And we're hoping to avoid that. And then also, it's not just the base of the trees that are concerning, but it's the branches that hang over, especially on windy days. Especially on windy days, branches kind of fall down and are kind of left on the field. And from personal experience, sophomore year, I was fighting for a roster spot. We were practicing at Ruby, and I was going after a fly ball, and I slipped on a branch that had fallen down. It was just in the middle of the field, not anywhere near the trees. It was just because of the overhang of the branches. Nothing I could really anticipate for. I ended up spraining my ankle because of that and missed a couple weeks of baseball because of that. And fortunately, I was able to get my roster spot back. But if it had come to that, then I would be pretty pissed. But it's just not safe having branches or the base of the tree, any part of the tree there. It also affects the play, where I've hit a couple balls to right center field, and I've seen a couple balls hit to right center field where the outfielder is kind of chasing after the ball, and it hits the tree, where normally it would roll to the fence. As a runner, I'd be looking to kind of go to third, whereas now there's a play at second base. I have to slide. It affects the play a lot, and it's just not. That's not part of baseball. That's not what baseball should be. I believe the last field, I believe the old Yankee Stadium had monuments in center field, and they got rid of that right away because it just was not safe. So it's kind of relate to there. And then regarding kind of having the bleachers down the line, playing right field primarily, and for my sophomore year in first base, my junior year and this senior year coming up, having the fans there is not a good idea, just because, first of all, you can't really see too well, and the fans, they can't see either. I have glasses with me, sunglasses with me, because that's just kind of part of a baseball attire, and so I'm able to manage it. But I know my mom and my dad never have anything like that to see. So
Always throwing the parents under the bus.
well, no, they never have sunglasses to see, so it's just kind of they have to always shade their eyes, and they're not able to see balls coming or anything like that. Line drives hit right at them. It's I've seen people gotten hit. Fortunately, they're okay. But another situation, as soon as someone got hit by a ball at Yankee Stadium, they put up fences and they changed it. In addition, I'm a very aggressive player. I'd be willing to dive into the stands if I need to. I'd rather avoid that situation by kind of moving, putting a fence, and cutting down the trees, putting a fence in center.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Cutting down the trees would kind of benefit everyone's safety. And so, in the end, I feel like if we got rid of that last tree and put a fence, moved the stands, pretty much all of the unsafe features of Ruby that aren't common in a regular baseball field would be eliminated, and I feel like it would be very beneficial for all the players and for the safety of everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hold on, Zach, I have a question for you. Is it fair to say that at your level of play in high school, that everybody you play with or play against, is there anybody that can't hit that tree? I mean, that's within reaching distance of.
So basically,
all
high school
players.
baseballers can hit a ball 330.
No doubt, right?
Yeah.
Primarily, yes.
Yeah.
I would say, even if you cannot hit it on the fly, it is fairly easy to hit one if
Even
you
on a
hit a
line
ground
drive?
ball. It gets involved a lot.
Now, what happens when the ball's hit up to the tree, bouncing down? Do you, like a pinball machine, do you sit there and just wait for this thing to bounce back down and go back into place so you can do something with it?
It's happened a couple times. I believe when it's on the bounce, you just play it and it's like a pinball, where that's happened before. I've hit one and it bounced from tree to tree to tree.
Right.
And it was, I had no clue what was
How about
happening, and
if
it
you
played
hit a
it.
fly ball into the branches, you guys have to literally just wait for it to kind of come out of the leaves, right?
No, I believe that's a home run. It depends where it hits. I've never really been part of like the kind of grounds crew meetings, but it kind of depends where it hits on the field. So yeah, which it kind of interferes with it in general. Just I'd rather not have to worry about where the ball's going to land. I'd rather just feel the pop up normal.
And how is your ankle now after sophomore? Like you recovered nicely?
Yeah, I was able to recover, but the rest of the year I was still in pain because obviously I wanted to get back, so I had to wrap up the rest of the year.
Thank you. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
your input.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Seeing as there is none, we're going to head into executive session.
Resolution 112619, whereas Article 6 of the Open Public Meetings Act provides that a public body may hold a closed session, and whereas the Township Committee will, during this meeting, enter into discussion of the following matters: personnel, attorney-client privilege, litigation, McClear, personnel, attorney-client privilege, leave matters. Whereas the matters to be discussed in closed session are to remain in the strictest of confidence by all members in furtherance of their fiduciary duties to the township. Now therefore be it resolved, matters discussed at this meeting will be released to the public when reasons for discussing and acting upon them in closed session no longer exists.
Motion going to closed?
Second.
All in favor?
If I call out, because I like to call out. So if I do, it's not because I go in when I'm sick. I went in with a fever.